Hello, my name is Gail Seiler, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of Betrayal Project USA. We are a victim led organization dedicated to exposing institutional betrayal, honoring those who we've lost, and pursuing justice for crimes committed under the guise of public health, namely COVID-19. You can learn more about our work and view our victim stories and get involved by visiting us at betrayalprojectusa.org. That's betrayalprojectusa.org. You can also find our social media and follow us on Rumble, BitChute, and X, formerly Twitter, by searching for Betrayal Project USA or going right to our homepage and linking out to that. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Teresa and Joanne, who Teresa's father and Joanne's husband was killed by the protocols in Michigan, in the state of Michigan, in a hospital. So first, let me thank you for being here. And in just a minute, I'm going to have you talk about who Robert was as a person. But you sent me some clips, and I want to play a clip of a song that he wrote, and the whole family singing, that I just think describes what an awesome, fun person he was. So everyone listen up for a minute.
She was in. Aunt Mary was in the
There's
hospital.
a reason this song only stays in the family. Because it's true.
Came at me on something about hair.
You got hit with a chair.
He said, real slow like a sinking ship. His eyes lit up like the sky. I turned thankful to save my life, and much to my surprise, it was the ugliest girl I ever did see, and she was making eyes at me. She had big green teeth, ugly red hair, 6 foot tall. She looked like a bear.
She jumped forward,
And I jumped back. I thought she was gonna attack.
she was kicking, sticking, and shooting down, and the
All
wall
was against my back.
well.
Slow like a sinking ship. My eyes lit up like the sky.
Turned real slow, and I turned around because I started to go. And she said, "Why don't you tell me who you are?"
Settle down my skill and I'll make you a deal, but I'm pretty sure you won't refuse. Cause if you do, I'm gonna break your head. So either be my man or be dead.
I said, no.
Wow, that's an oldie, Gil.
What a great song. Your dad, your husband Joanne, so much fun, so much talent to just like write something like that.
Oh.
It reminded me of when I lived in Ireland and how the Irish would, to come up with those songs, and they were all like that. So that was pretty cool. And just so the family environment is so awesome that I really love that.
It's
So-
pretty much what we do when we get together.
Yeah. So tell the world about who your husband was.
He was a very loving man. He worked hard. He worked hard all of his life. His music was everything before he met me. He came from Detroit and he played in a big band in Detroit. And his mom and his 5 siblings moved north to get out of Detroit because it was getting bad. And he came up here in his late 20s. And that's when he met me. He had a band in Bel Air where I was bartending and he was the musician. And we met and started dating. And we had so much fun together. We had a lot of rentals that we used to leave every weekend to go up in the UP to work on a couple of rentals. And we'd stay there all week and we'd take the kids and go up, and there we go. Because I had a child before I met him. So we'd all go to the UP for the weekend to work on these rentals. And then he'd come back and he'd play music for the next 5 days. And again, we'd go the next weekend. It was so much fun. We enjoyed each other so much. I cannot even begin to tell you all the stories of what we did together. And I miss him so much.
My dad, you nailed it. He was all about family. Little kids were drawn to him. He loved my mom desperately. There's so many videos out there. He loved any little kid to pick it up. I think he had 20 grandkids. I think we counted the other day.
Yeah,
and there was not a moment where we didn't have a smile on our face together. Everything was a riot, from going shopping to flea markets to big old engine shows to getting, Thanksgiving. He loved Thanksgiving, which was the last holiday we celebrated together. These were, our great grands he's holding just there. He loved family. And most of all, he loved people. He had a biggest heart for strangers, for charity, anybody in need. He had a bleeding heart. And it really, so that was my dad. You nailed it. He was a mix of, let's just say, Fred Rogers, the heart of Bill Cosby before, the heart of Bill Cosby, and George Costanza, all kind of mixed up in this weird.
Yeah, he was funny.
He was funny. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I want to play another clip that it's a song your dad wrote that I think just I think just kind of encompasses or will give the world a little bit of an idea of his faith and how much he loved the Lord and his kindness and the way that he thought in terms. And this was a Christmas song that you and him are singing that he's playing. And get some tissue because people need to. This is a little bit. It made me cry the first time I heard it.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Tomorrow's Christmas Day, and I love my ma a lot. But we're real poor, and I'm crippled. I can't walk. Do you have anything that you can give me so I can give it to my mom? Strange husband took him by the hand, said, "Son, get up and walk."
Wait, you do the A count.
Ready?
Okay.
The mother woke later that night to a sight any mother would hope to see. 'Cause standing in front of her was her own little boy, standing on his own 2 feet. He said, "Mama, there was a man here last night, and he said he was some kind of king. He had a beard and a big gold crown, and he said that he could do anything."
And it was his birthday too, Mama, and we had ourselves a real good time. Well, he was going to leave, Mama, and Mama. Something like that. That's it. Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you found that. What a story. That was so story. My dad wrote that when he was like 40, when he was like in his 20s or 30s. It was a Christmas song about a crippled boy who was cured, by Jesus visiting him. And absolutely, my dad, like I mentioned, had a bleeding heart, and he wrote that. And he never did pen it down. So the last time he visited me, I said, "Sit here and tell me and teach it to me because I need to get this down." And I'm so glad we did. Thank you for finding that, Gail.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
And that every time he came, it was that. He would call me every day. He would call, of course, my mom. He was with my mom all the time, but we would speak every day at noon. I'd call my parents. Wherever I was in the world, it didn't matter. I would call home, and it would always be a funny exchange to see what he was doing and what I was doing and what they were working on and what trouble we're getting into. And it was really it was the heart. He was the heart with my mom, and they were pals. They did everything together.
So at some point, he got COVID. And tell me about when, how, and what transpired
Yeah, absolutely. So really, how did it go from being healthy? And by the way, the last Thanksgiving we celebrated at my house and it was perfectly healthy. We had a grand time, just like what we were seeing there. And of course, I came down. It was the summer, the winter of 2021. The Delta variant was circulating. But before then, my dad was always skeptical about what was going on. He knew that there was something going on in the political realm. We didn't believe what was happening, what was being shown on the news. We didn't believe. He hated the masks violently. It came to a point where he would visit me. He's like, "I'm not going into that store if I have to wear a mask." And it came. I mean, that's how our whole family was. We believed it was something different than what was being fed to us. He always believed that, and he stuck to his guns. He knew it. And we had followed other lines, like we knew of the American frontline doctors and things like this. And so we were just becoming acclimated because we were seeing the news report, all these deaths in New York and things like this. So yeah, it was Thanksgiving 2021. I got sick the Good Friday, that Friday right after Thanksgiving. And it was a huge snowstorm and a blizzard. So I basically kicked everybody out saying, "Guys, I'm not feeling good. Get out of here. Get home. You got to travel 3 hours." Later that night, I got worse and worse. Of course, I was worried about my parents. I kept calling home. "No, we're not sick yet," which I thought, oh, maybe they beat it. Thank God, But even understanding that, that as long as you have basic vitamin C and D and zinc, we were following how you can get through it. So, I was just checking in on them. Well, lo and behold, I think 4 days later, Mom, you started to have a headache. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Actually, yeah, I think I got the headache first. And it was a real bad headache, but I really didn't feel real bad yet. But the very next day, which would have been like Saturday or Sunday, Rob started getting the sniffles, and he went downhill fast. I never really got full-blown COVID where I couldn't function. I had the brain fog and I had, the congestion, but nothing where I couldn't live. I sat up through it all most of the time. Although I did have some severe brain fog, but he was bedridden. He couldn't hardly get up. And I kept trying to get him to drink and eat, and he'd do 1 or 2 swallows, but he couldn't sit up. He tried to fight it. We tried the best. I tried to give him electrolytes. I tried to give him medicines, but he had rheumatoid arthritis, so he was on methotrexate. So he was prone to illness. I mean, they told him not to get sick when they put him on this medicine. Well, he got sick, and he couldn't fight it.
And were you able to get like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, the protocols at that time?
I tried everywhere locally to get ivermectin from his local doctors, and I thought I finally found somebody that would give it. This was probably about 2 or 3 days into wasn't it, Teresa, about that time? Into the sickness, where I thought I found a doctor that could give it in, like something happened, somebody shut off a faucet and they said, "We can't give you ivermectin, it's against the law."
Yeah, no local office would give it to him. I even tried my doctors trying to figure out if I could get a hold of it for my family. Nope, we can't give it to you. So there was no outpatient treatment, which was right away. Now let's back up here. Really, what my dad needed was oxygen and potassium. These are the 2 things that he needed. We couldn't get anywhere locally. We knew, and this has been a history. Whenever he got sick, he just needed oxygen. He needed vitamin C and zinc. We knew that, and it had been a course of our treating my dad. That was kind of what we did. That was what we were planning to do. That was the only things we were planning to do. We had discussed it as a family. No, we're not going on the ventilator. You go on the ventilator, you die. We know that. Remdesivir that they were giving, we did not want any of that. We wanted vitamin C, potassium, ivermectin, budesonide, and send us home. And that was the problem. That's exactly what happened. My mom and I chatted, and his oxygen was low. I said, he needs oxygen. We got to get him oxygen, right, Mom? So I stalled and he stalled because
Sure.
we had this feeling that this is not a safe place to go to. I'm looking at the ticker tapes on the television saying how many people are dying by the minute in the hospitals. And if I could do it again, I never would send him, of course, but I didn't know what else to do. I mean, he needed oxygen. He was not well. But I knew his potassium was being depleted. It always is depleted when he gets sick. And I knew he was dehydrating because he hadn't drank anything now 3-4 days now to speak of. So I broke down and I said, "You want to go?" And he said, "I think I should go. I think I need to go to the hospital."
And it's reasonable. We thought it's reasonable to go to somewhere where you could trust to get oxygen. We've done it before. We'll be okay. We know what we're going into, but we didn't know what we were going into.
No, I really didn't know. I called the hospital. I said, "I'm bringing him in. He has COVID. I have COVID. We both have COVID. Can I come in with him?" And of course, they refused me. They said, "You don't even come near the door. You drop him off in the parking lot." Now, keep in mind, he could hardly walk, and I had to drop him off in the parking lot. They wouldn't even come out and get him.
Well, and you were just in a car with him in an enclosed,
Oh,
like it doesn't even make sense that
that's what I said. He has COVID. I have COVID. I won't leave the room. I'll just come in with him just to be with him. And no, I couldn't even come 10 feet near the hospital. They wouldn't let me. And I mean, they were watching. They knew he was coming because I called him, said he's coming.
Yeah.
So that was on December 5th. December 5th of 2020.
Yep, he went in on the 5th.
Yeah, and so he was by himself. He was checked in by himself, and I think it was in the ER. In fact, Mom, I think you dropped him off.
Yeah, I dropped in the ER. That's where they told me to drop him off. I thought maybe they'd have a special room because I didn't think they'd want him sitting out in the ER room, but apparently it was okay for everybody else to be exposed.
And what happened thereafter was devastating because we lost complete control at that moment. Immediately after, now we're reviewing the records many months and many years later, after fighting for him, by the way, for a very long time, we see that immediately on December 5th, he was injected with something called remdesivir on this very day. We know now that remdesivir was killing over 53.4% of the people in Africa in the Ebola trial. We know that now. We had no idea he was given remdesivir at this point. You can see it in his medical records just now. This was the 5th when he was. So right away, the next day, it took about 12 hours for my mom to get a phone call. She kept calling the hospital. She couldn't get a hold of these people to figure out what are they doing with my dad. He was supposed to get potassium. He was supposed to get vitamin C, zinc, ivermectin, budesonide. And why are they not calling us back? We could not get a hold of these guys. Lo and behold, they injected him with remdesivir that very day, and the decline started immediately. We can see in his medical records, even the next day, him saying he's not doing well. They're trending downward last night. He had renal insufficiency even before he was obviously not doing well, but he was not a candidate for remdesivir anyway. Now, we can see that in some of the records, they say he signed off on this. No, we can't find any record where my dad signed off on remdesivir, that he was given, that he was told about what it can do and what, so after a discussion with him. No, there was no discussion with the family. And also he had a temperature and he was not well.
He would never have agreed to remdesivir. I know that because we discussed that.
Yeah, we discussed as well that he would never he did not want to go on the vent. But also looking through his medical records, we can see that they ended up marking him as do not resuscitate. Like, what in the heck? Why is he marked do not resuscitate? I have no idea about that. Now, years later, we understand if you are marked as do not resuscitate, if you say you don't want the ventilator, you will be marked as do not resuscitate. You don't have a choice. They're going to automatically apply it to your record. And that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And if effectively, that's how he died on December 8th, we were trying to get him out of there. I guess the story progresses as such. Each day, the same story. He would get better in the daytime. He would be doing well. His stats would improve. And then all of a sudden at nighttime, middle of the night, usually midnight, he would decline. And we thought, what the heck is going on in there? Day 2 and 3, I called my mom, like, why is he getting worse? He shouldn't be getting worse. He's in a hospital. Right. Why is he getting worse? And we couldn't figure it out. What were they giving him to get worse? Clearly, we were getting better at home. I had already been day 4. By that time, I had already contacted American Frontline Doctors through networking, and they were on the way to send ivermectin to me. The UPS broke down because of the blizzard in Michigan. Yeah. Couldn't get it.
So did you have contact with him or not a lot?
No, he couldn't talk. He was on a BiPAP.
BiPAP, yeah, okay.
They had him on an oxygen tube to begin with. The first day I tried to call him, and it was so irritating. He did not want that. He requested it to be removed, and so they did call me and say, "Would you accept a BiPAP?" Well, they asked if they would ventilate him, and I said no vent. And he said, "How about a BiPAP?" And I said, "Well, what is a BiPAP?" And they explained to me it's like a CPAP machine that he has sleep apnea, so I knew exactly what that was. I said, "Oh, he'd accept a BiPAP." So they put the BiPAP on him, but he couldn't talk with this machine on.
It's blowing like, I mean, if
yeah.
anybody knows what a BiPAP is,
Yeah.
it's forcing into, and that's why he didn't like it. Like he kept getting agitated because it was too high pressure.
Yeah, it's very high pressured, and it the problem with the BiPAP is you can't blow off the CO2, so it's
Right.
you almost get suffocated by it.
And that's we could only have one person there for 2 hours a day, and it had to be the same person. You couldn't have more than one person.
Yeah.
Only one person, and
And because
so
all the family was sick. Not to cut you off, Mom.
all
Sorry,
of us had COVID because we had Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
But his brother, who was from Detroit, I called him, and he was able to go sit with him the 2 hours the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he was explaining to me that he's fighting the BiPAP. He's trying to get it off. He doesn't like it. But then he would have to leave. It's been 2 hours now. He has to leave. And then they would call me in the middle of the night. I think it was day 2, middle of day 2 evening. He said he was trying to remove his catheter and take his BiPAP off, and he was trying to get out of bed, and they were walking by. He was on the floor.
Yeah, and this is very typical of my dad. When he knows something's wrong with his body, he's trying to get up and go to the bathroom. Now hearing the stories of what happened with the folks with remdesivir, it's like glass going through your veins, right? And I can just imagine my dad fighting, trying to get out of there.
It is painful to the heart. But when they told you that you could only have somebody there for 2 hours a day, did they explain what is so magical or wrong about the other 22 hours in a day that suddenly that like is it that I mean that
no, that's hospital protocol. 2 hours, that's it.
2 hours a day.
Yeah, this is actually brings us to the next point, the protocol of what I honestly didn't know that there was really a protocol. They're learning this word of
never heard that before.
Never heard the word protocol in this sense before. I was getting irritated because by day 2, my mother's like, I can't seem to get them to give him ivermectin. I can't seem to get them to give him a hydroxychloroquine or monoclonal antibodies, which the thing we knew were helping other people. And I'm like, well, give me the phone. I'm going to find out why they're not going to give, what's going on here. Why are they talking down to you? Why are they gaslighting you? And so I ended up calling the doctor myself, Dr. Dopscotch, who was a traveling nurse, by the way, in Charlevoix, Michigan. It was not the regular doctors on staff, but a traveling doctor we've never heard of before. After finally getting in touch with them, I said, look, we want to give my dad ivermectin. What's the problem? She says, even if I wanted to give any of these things that you're requesting, I can't. Number 1, it's against the protocol. Number 2, there's nowhere to get a hold of it. We don't even have it on staff. I said, well, I'll bring it to you. I have it on the way. Of course, she was not interested in talking or hearing about it.
She'd actually get mad at us. I mean, she'd get upset.
Yeah, she was really laying into my mom, saying, no, you're ridiculous for thinking that's going to work. She really was talking down to my mom, and that was really irritating me. So at this point, day 3, right? It's day 3 in the hospital. Again, the same story. He's doing poorly at night. Why? Why is he doing poorly at night? Day 3, I believe, is the day they started him on morphine. We had no idea about this, by the way. And, the notes say he was not in any pain, which morphine you give typically for pain. Everything suggests that there was no pain in my dad's chest anywhere, that he was having pain. He just was having trouble breathing with the oxygen, and it wasn't working. The cannula probably didn't fit him right. He was having troubles with it. Mm-hmm. So why was he doing so poorly? And so this is where it started to tip my hand. We've got to find a way to get him ivermectin and get treatment to him. So we really started calling around to figure out some other options. I think this was the night number 4 in the hospital. He had fallen, as my mom had suggested. They started on morphine. We knew nothing about that, didn't sign off on it at all. I know that they were giving him multiple doses of remdesivir and morphine throughout the medical records that we see. Unauthorized, no consent about that, except for they just kept saying, oh, he's doing very poorly. He's doing very poorly. Well, no wonder he's doing very poorly. You're not giving him the treatment that he needed. So the next day was the terrible day for us. December 8th, midnight struck. I think it was 3:00 in the morning. My mother called me. They just called me. He's unresponsive at all. I'm like, what in the world are they doing up there in Charlevoix, Michigan? I'm getting in the car right now. Mind you, this is day, like day 4 or 5 for me for COVID. So I can barely stand up. But I said, I'm getting in the car. We're going to go get my dad out of that dang hospital. What's going on with these people? And move them. We had asked them to transfer to another hospital. The answer that they gave us is, oh, there's no beds in Northern Michigan. Good luck. This is it. You got to stay here. Nothing. So I didn't believe that. I believed that we could have found other places for him. So we were going to go try ourselves. And that very night, I also received ivermectin from American Frontline Doctors as well. So I was eager to get this to my dad. My family was, we couldn't get it elsewhere. So we were really counting on what I had procured. And I was on the way in this blizzard to go get my dad out of the hospital. My mom that morning, after being unresponsive, miraculously, we believe this is due to God and my dad's fight as well to want to say goodbye to my family, being such a family man. He awoke. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. He woke up after being unresponsive, and he was talking. He was having conversations with my aunt, who's now in the room, my brother, who barged his way in there. He was gonna, go see what was going on.
At this point, because he was dying, they opened up the room to anybody who wanted to come visit him, except anybody who had COVID, of course.
Yeah.
So I still couldn't come in to see him.
At this point, they were able to get him on speakerphone, however, and my mom was able to speak with him for several hours, and he was having conversations with her.
Yeah.
Which was great. I was just about 20 minutes behind. We had arranged over the phone, my mother and I, working with hospice, just any way to get him out of that hospital. I knew something was going on behind the curtain. I didn't know.
I had called hospice and I asked, could you do everything that they're doing? Can you get him oxygen? Can you get him IVs? And can you give him potassium from home? And they said, absolutely, we can do all of that. And I said, then I want to bring him home. Mm-hmm. And so my son was there because they've opened up the room now, and the nurse came in and said, you're going to kill him. You take him out of this hospital, he's going to die. Yeah. He is not going to make it. You guys are going to kill him if you take him out. And they came in and gave him, I think it was Ativan at that point. I think, looking back on the records, they gave him something in his IV, which he died, I don't know, a few minutes later. Not very long later.
They had rolled him, and it's pretty common knowledge that you don't roll patients in this way who have who had heart stents and things. So we noticed that there were several things that happened on that day, and immediately he appeared to have a heart attack when they tried to turn him. Although it was mysteriously right after we were planning to remove him from the hospital, within maybe a half hour, 40 minutes.
Hospice was on their way. Yeah.
Yeah. By that point, they increased his morphine. They injected him with Ativan. They were trying to say, you will kill him if you remove him from here. We were making arrangements to get nurses to come to his house to help us to get prepared. We couldn't figure out what was different. What was it? Why were we all recovering and my dad is declining severely? So we knew we had to take matters into our own hands. It just so happens that our Lord had a different plan for him that day. And I was about 20 minutes. He had just passed. They let me in. We can see him here. This is how I found him. We were able to have the priest just there as he was dying. And so he was able to get last rites the day before as well, which was fantastic that the priest was able to get in. He was well known in the community, and we were thankful for that. But that was not common with some of the other folks that had some issues getting their family and priest in as well. But nonetheless, so we were not able to remove him from the hospital, and he died that day. So yeah, that was the story.
Yeah. So you sent me this physician's notes. Is this what where you're looking at the speak to this. Why?
Yeah. Well, I just had noted here that they had put acute renal insufficiency, and I just wanted to talk about that for a minute because, you know, if you read the inserts on remdesivir, and if this was clearly explained, he was not a candidate for remdesivir. It's supposed to be in the very initial stages. Nonetheless, he had by the time he had reached the hospital, I think he was on day 5, 6, 7, which is way past the window anyway. So he wasn't even he should have never received remdesivir and everything that happened in the hospital, therefore. So that's what happened here. So again, just thinking about everything that happened in a very short amount of time, we're like 4 days after learning his, you know, what happened in the hospital. It was the same story with so many other people that we've learned that, you know, 4 days on remdesivir. Why are all these nurses? Why are all these people dying? And it wasn't until we found Nurse Siratek, who went back before the Senate, and she said, they're killing my patients. And I heard her testify, they're giving them remdesivir, and there's a certain number of days, like clockwork, that it takes, you know, that it kills people. And this is still happening today. And so we want to make sure that people know about this.
So you had that. I mean, you kind of had that gut feeling. Did everybody in the family kind of have that gut feeling, or was it sort of a mix of let the doctors do their jobs, but yet, you know, you feel like they're killing them? Like, I mean,
No, his side of the family, his brothers and sisters, a few of them knew they were going to kill him. Some are avid.
yeah,
You know, hospitals will do their job. They'll take care of them.
right.
We knew because we discussed it that this was not a safe place to go to.
Yeah. So at what point, Teresa, were you like, they killed my dad? Was it right away? Was it take a little bit?
It wasn't. I did not know that they gave him remdesivir, and I did not know that they gave him morphine at that point in time. I thought, I knew that something was weird. I knew when they rolled him and he had a heart attack immediately that something was weird about that. I knew that he was declining in the nighttime. Something was weird about that. Everything was just, there was a lot of red flags for me, of course, and everything that I was learning at that time. But it wasn't until I couldn't get the medical records. I had called the hospital. They were jerking my mom around, saying, I didn't receive your email 2, 3, 4 times. Upload to the portal. Oh, we didn't attach everything. This happened for months, 2 or 3, and I was getting annoyed. So I finally wrote, I escalated it, and I was able to finally, through a miracle, get the records to identify that they gave him remdesivir on day 1. And it all fell into place after learning that. And it was, I know without a doubt that if he would have been given the treatment that he needed, we would not be here today talking about this.
Right. Instead of the deadly protocol.
Yeah.
So since then, talk a little bit about, number one, let's start with what the aftermath has been.
Yeah. Mom, I'm going to let you lead with that one. Tell about what life is like now.
Well, you can tell I'm not very good yet. You would think that you would do better. But no, it doesn't. This kind of stuff is still really tender. I keep thinking what we could have done different. So that guilt is still there. Teresa, I can't do it. You take over.
Yeah, of course. It's everything in our life hinged on my dad. He was the glue to our family. Family events, where we're going, what we're going to be doing, family projects. Every aspect of your life is impacted by this loss that shouldn't have happened. We understand that life is a gift, and that God gives life, and He also will call you in your time. But this was not part of the plan. This was part of an evil, sinister plan where that should never have happened. So the impact is, number one, all of our family has been sent into having to pick up the pieces. It means selling family houses and trying to reorganize, to just our normal day to day, having the support that's no longer there. My mom's companion is no longer there with her. So every single one of us have felt it. And nonetheless, also the next generation, not having their grandfather around, so we feel the loss incredibly.
Yeah. So since that time, over the years, you've become very active in Michigan and nationally even. Talk a little bit about what drove you, to be publicly active, tell a story publicly, connect, and all of the things that you've achieved and been doing and we're doing together.
Yeah, I actually, Gail, the story was really remarkable about how you played part of our story. We felt so alone when we lost my dad, and we were very hesitant to announce, what we believe had happened, because it was everybody was kept so in the dark about what happened. There wasn't a network that was built up that about what we know now. So we felt like we were isolated, that this had happened. We couldn't find other people that this was happening. We knew it was happening, but we couldn't find the people. And so I had connected, of course, I had followed the American Frontline Nurses, who I still do today, American Frontline Doctors I was networked with, and also Michigan for Vaccine Choice. I was already partnering with, helping them in some different ways on some different things. And I was aware that they had always said, watch out for watch out for the hospitals, watch out for the medical industry. There are great doctors and nurses out there. You just have to find them. And I do believe that to this day. But there's a huge plan out there of people that are not of goodwill. And so my mission now is to help restore our nation's trust in the medical institution, in our institutions. It's not just the medical institutions. It's also the legal institutions. It's every aspect where there's corruption now because of money. I mean, if anybody takes a look at how much my father's stay, which is only 4 or 5 days in the hospital, the doctors made an insane amount of money off of remdesivir, and that is what drove, I believe, the project. And I want everybody to know that this was not. This was meant to kill people. This was rolled out for money, and this should never happen again. And our mission is to make sure everybody knows this, and to get to the ears of the President of the United States, who can actually do something about this now, which we are well on our way. This was 4 years ago, so we have hosted through different roles throughout working with the medical freedom groups over 4 years. We had hosted state hospital protests numerous times simultaneously. We had billboards. We actually were outside Pfizer, where I wrote local legislators, and they actually came and spoke at our event. I had a number of doctors come support us, saying, "You are right. This is what happened to you and many others. Here, show us your records. Yes, this is what happened." So they agree. Dr. Bernine is a great resource out there that will say that it was medical acidosis about what happened. They were over medicating with the wrong medications, and I believe that's what happened to my dad as well. So what have I done? I also set up a lot of tables at any event that I could get to Michigan for Vaccine Choice, anywhere in the public where 200,000 people attend. For many years, we did this to try to raise awareness of what's actually happening in the medical industry. We partner with Children's Health Defense with their bus tours, with their videos, and also their stories. We met Tucker Carlson. We got a photo with him, told him of our initiatives. Don Jr. has our information. I met him personally. And the most important is I personally met RFK. I went when he was here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was able to couldn't believe it, but he was able to spend a few.
We kind of bombarded our way into RFK.
Yeah, a little bit about that. It worked out really well, where God gives you a window of opportunity, and,
yep.
And that's what happened. It came right, and I said, "Please end the hospital protocols." And he turned around. He said, "What's your name?" I told him my name, and he said, "I will." And I'm counting on him, and I am asking him, if he's watching this video, to please keep his word and please help to restore our confidence in the medical industry by removing these hospital protocols, namely remdesivir, but not just that, all the other medications that they're giving to people without their informed consent.
All the protocols need to disappear.
Yeah, exactly. And go with what, there were some, especially by the time your dad went in the hospital, Teresa, so there were about 1,000 over 1,000 doctors in America that were doing the frontline doctor protocol at that time and didn't lose one patient, not one patient. And it's a disgrace that they refused that to him when they knew darn well that it would have worked.
So Gail, when I read your story in the Epic Times, that's what I was trying to remember. I read it for the first time and it gave me hope. I said, we're not alone in this journey. If we could have only got ivermectin or some of these other things that were working, my dad would still be here today.
Yeah, for naysayers, right, you're right, because my husband took me home and I was saved with the protocols that I was denied. So like all of the survivors, right, that we know, every single one of them, the interruption in care, in the hospital care, is what saved their life. And then getting so we do know, when you say you're 100% sure that if your dad had gotten the right protocol, he'd be alive today. Yeah. Because that's the facts. That's the data. That is all of that.
I had friends that were older than my father that were in other hospitals across the state. Maybe they were 75, 85 years old, in that range. And they were given ivermectin, and the very next day they walked out of the hospital.
Yeah.
With that knowledge, I knew I had to get my dad ivermectin. To this day, I'm so angry that I begged the doctors to please help us and was refused. And that should never happen. I think Mary Talley Bowden will speak about this, that she didn't lose one patient. I know it to be true. These doctors are now learning, and more of them need to learn that they need to stop this protocol, and we need to revamp our hospital systems.
So what does the future look like?
I'm really happy to say that I found Gail after reading your story, and through many years working together to raise awareness about what's going on. Have now founded together with Gail and others, the Betrayal Project, which is now, again, picking up the torch, to carry on the torch, to make sure that we're bringing this to the attention of people who can do something. But not only that, we want to find, I believe there's to be 1.6 million people out in the United States and also globally. We're doing interviews around the globe and hearing same stories. This is a bigger effort. And we want the stories to prove to people that we need to make change. And so by working with the Betrayal Project, telling your story, raising awareness, together reforming bills, eventually we will get to the ears of people who can actually do this and make the change.
I would hope that I would feel comfortable of going to the hospital again. Right now, I'm asking them never to take me to a hospital again.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to change this. This is something my mother should be able to go get care at her local hospital. And I really want to work to reform the hospital systems by making change so that we can restore trust so that people can get the care they need.
Yeah. And also the family physicians and all of that, because people wouldn't have gone to the hospitals if they had said, no, I'm going to give the right protocol.
I'm going to give you ivermectin. Yeah.
I'm going to give what's working, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to play a little something. Give me a second here because I need to share my screen. I want to play a little something that you sent from your dad, just so people get kind of a feel of this. When I heard this, it really reminded me of something that now you are missing forever. And so when people think about the impact, it's just not it's not all about the big things. Sometimes it's the little things, it's the everyday things. And so this is an example of something I call the big little things. It's a big deal. It seems like a little thing, but it's a big deal. And so just take a listen.
Gail, I'm not able to hear it. Maybe.
Oh, all right. I know what step I missed. Hold on. I have to add it to the stage. Sorry about that, folks.
No,
All right,
that's-
now let me play it.
Hey, just
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
hey, just your dad calling you to say good morning, campers. Give me a call when you can. I'm just checking out, see how things are going down there. See if you got any of that snow. Okay. See you later. Bye bye. Good morning, Teresa Diane. Dad calling. Just sitting out on the back porch all by myself, listening to the rain. Gotta love it. Just it's a beautiful morning. Thought I'd call and say hi. Give me a call when you can. Bye bye. Hello, campers. This is your dad calling. Just wanted to say good morning. I'm off to boil my last 60 gallons of sap. Season's coming to a close. It is closed. It stopped running yesterday. So, okay. Talk to you later. Give me a call. I'll call you. Bye-bye.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. He had such a heart. He had a heart for people who were suffering, especially. And I know that he would want everybody to listen, to take care, and fight. He loved President Trump. He loved, and I know that if President Trump were to listen to this video, that he could help us to turn this around and save people's lives.
Yeah. Joanne, what's one of your favorite memories about your husband?
Oh. I think probably when my oldest son was born. You have to understand my husband was a rock and roll star. You know, he was a cool dude. And you would he changed overnight when his oldest son was born. My brother used to make fun of him because he'd come home every day after work and say, "Did you poo-poo today?"
It changes you.
He loved his kids. That was my favorite memory of him because he melted into a father. He loved his kids.
It explains why so many in the family are musical.
Oh yeah. He was a musician, his heart and soul. Although in his older years, because he had arthritis in his fingers, he couldn't play, and everybody always asked him to play, and he'd always get so upset because he had to tell people no because he was an entertainer.
Yeah.
So we would always, the videos that you saw before, try to pick his brain and get him to show us at least some of the chords of how he would, how he structured the songs. And one day we're going to do them as a family and come back out and share them with the world.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
From your dad. And then
my gosh.
Ellie made this one too.
Oh
my gosh, that was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary.
If only I could kiss him one more time.
Oh, that is such a gift. Those are such a gift.
She's very talented.
She is.
Love that she does those. Well, any final last words or things you want people to know before we sign off?
Mom, you go and then I'll go.
Just please help us change so we can feel like a nation again, a united nation. Because right now I don't believe we feel that. I feel so segregated from everybody because people who don't believe they murdered him are dead wrong. They did.
And on that, I want to leave everybody with my dad was about hope. he liked even the darkest heart, he wanted to give a little bit of joy to. And I want everybody to walk away that there are people out there that can do something about this, that are uniting together. Betrayal Project is bringing together so many people to tell our stories, that there is hope and there is a way. And if you need help, reach us. And most importantly, I want everybody to know that, yes, you're on the right track, that you are not, the information that you've been given, that hunch, that instinct in your stomach that something is wrong, listen to it, and go with your gut feeling. And also remember that God's will is everything, and relying on him and bringing him into your project and into what you're doing. He will lead the way and he will get us out of this. Yeah,
if God's not in it, we can't do it. And so if you have a story, go to betrayalprojectusa.org. Make sure you put the USA in there. Betrayalprojectusa.org. You can find our hospital deadly playbook, and you'll probably recognize a lot of the things that happened, and they will apply to your story. But put your story in, tell it publicly, because until we all do this, it won't end. It'll just be a few people out there crying in the wilderness, right? So if we even get half of that 1.6 million, we're good. And I do want to say Teresa is the VP of the Betrayal Project USA, and I'm the president, and you've done an amazing job, Teresa.
Thank you. Together we will, everyone, and especially Gail, with your help. You've been such a light for us and an example. So thank you for the opportunity to tell our story.
We got a great team, and people can find out about them on our website.
Thank you.
Thanks, and share this video, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.